There are three basic factors or criteria which are important for people to be attracted to the industry. What are these three criteria?
Welcome back, Commander Kumar. Today we have a very interesting question for you. Is the automotive industry a preferred career choice?
Namaskar to everybody. Good to be back. I think before I answer your question, I think some two aspects should be clarified so that I can proceed with the answers. The first thing is the caliber of people today joining the auto retail industry. What is the kind of caliber that we are getting today? Honestly speaking, we are not getting people from the top rank institutes. I'm talking purely on the sales side, because on the technical side, which is the after sales side, you will find that you are getting people from automobile engineers, diploma holders. That's perfectly all right. But on the sales stream and customer care, etc., we are not getting people from the top rank institutions like, say, IIMs or the top-notch colleges across the country. We are not even getting that second-tier colleges. What I presume that we are getting today are people from the third-tier colleges across the country. So that is the first thing that we must be very clear. We are not attracting people of the top-ranked colleges. The second thing that we must understand before we get into the question and answer is that when you talk about a career prospect, there are two types of jobs people take. One is on a career basis, is it the best for a career option, or is it an employment option? There's two things which are vastly different. When you talk about career, this is something which is long-term, which is growth-oriented, and also something which is sustainable. Whereas employment is something which is more temporary, it is not so growth-oriented, and it's a transient. Somebody comes in for a, maybe for a stopgap arrangement for a couple of years, and then move on to the next. So what we are seeing today in the auto retail segment is people are not really coming for long-term career options. People are coming for more employment options. And the reasons as to why people are not coming for career options, this is the thing that I'm going to take on in a more elaborate way. Now, we must understand that if somebody has to come to our industry as a career option, there are three basic factors or criteria which are important for people to be attracted to the industry. What are these three criteria? The first criteria is what we call the monetary benefits that the industry offers. When I talk about the monetary benefits, it includes the salaries, the incentives, the healthcare, insurance, transportation, housing, whatever. All these are basically makes out the monetary benefits. If you really look at what our industry offers generally, there could be exceptions, I'm not denying that. But I would think 95%. We are not offering something which is very competitive compared to other industries. Just as a simple case, if you look at freshers who join as sales consultants today, in a city like Bangalore, I think they get starting salaries of 15,000 to 18,000, and maybe incentives. Now, incentive is something which is more subjective. You see somebody, say, working as an e-com delivery agent today gets about 30 to 40,000 rupees. So we are not really attracting people in the industry because there are better career options. I'm not saying the e-com delivery agent is a better option, but then looking at the kind of people that we attract into the industry, that's a good option. Good option for people to go and work even as a stopgap arrangement. So we are not offering very good monetary benefits to people joining the industry. So the first criteria, we are not there at all. The second criteria as to why people join our industry or join any industry as a career option is if they are promised certain growth prospects. Very, very important. If a sales consultant joins an organization, he expects to be told or he expects to be assured that if he performs well, say in 3 to 5 years, he'll become a team leader, or maybe 7 years he becomes a sales manager or branch head, or he becomes a brand head, maybe in 12 to 15 years. Now, we have no such career planning in our organization. Very few retail or dealerships do have something which is, sort of structured, incorporated in the HR manual, which says this is the career progress that one can expect. We don't have that. Somebody joins as a front office receptionist, as a front office agent. She doesn't have an option of, being told whether she'll become a customer care manager in 5 years or 7 years. So we don't offer a growth prospects for people who join the industry, and nothing is structured. So it is ad hocism. It is whimsical is left to the dealership and to the people who run the dealership. So the growth prospects are also very, 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 very transient. I would think it's not even there. The third very important criteria to be met is the work environment. When you say work environment, this means the working conditions, the working practices, the work ethics, and the whole environment, which, or like what we say, the corporate culture. How many dealerships have something which is defined? Because this is very important for a person to feel happy, very content to come and work. He feels he is respected, he is valued, he's seen as somebody which is contributing to the organization, and he feels part of the organization and also starts to take ownership of the organization. This is something which can only happen if the dealership has got a very structured, written down corporate culture and very well practiced top down. Again, this is something which is very, very few and far between. I don't know how many dealerships do really have a very well structured corporate culture. So in all these three criteria, whether it is the monetary benefits or the growth or the work environment, our industry really doesn't promise anything. It is very vague. So given that situation, we are not able to attract people to our industry as a career option. Now, why it is very important to have people on a career option is you will have better people coming in, you will have better productivity, you will have better performance, and what happens is the whole industry becomes more and more vibrant. But today what we see, if you go to dealerships, are people in the middle and top level who have been there for, say, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm not saying they're bad, but they have accepted the reality, what it exists today, and have no choice to move on. Because, when you have done so many years in a particular industry, finding a lateral switch to another industry is pretty difficult. So you find most of them separate and stay on. But if you look at the junior level, which is, say, the sales consultant or the customer care team, they all come 1 year, 2 years. Why 1 year, 2 years? Even much less 2 months, people leave and go. So there is so much of churn happening in that segment that no dealership can really settle down to do a consistent performance, because those are the people who actually give the performance, whether it is in terms of sales or customer satisfaction. And you find that we are not able to work as a team because of this large churn in the manpower. So the answer to the question is, we are not today offering a career option. What we are offering today is an employment option. And that option is not what is good for an organization or an industry to grow. So we have to satisfy the three criteria of monetary benefits, growth, and work environment. If we can get all this together, then I think we can say we have a career option available.
How do we navigate this challenge?
I would think, it may be an exaggerated statement from my side, but my honest opinion is 95% of people working in a dealership, leave aside the technical team. They are not so much, people who move around to too many jobs. But if you look at the sales team and the sales related, teams, you will find that 95% of people are looking for the next job. They're not very happy where they're working. Seriously, because of the fact that these all, over a period of time, they find whether it is in terms of monetary benefits, no growth prospects, very bad work environment. So they're all looking for a job. And it's so sad when you have everyone is, in the back of the mind is not concentrating on the job, but looking for the next job. It's a very sad situation. But anyway, I think we can't help it given our current situation. But my advice to people who are looking for a switch is, don't be whimsical, don't be impulsive. Because grass is always green on the other side, but it's not really so. Yeah. Because you will find that you move from one job to another job because someone said, oh, this dealership is very good, go and work there. You go there and you find that your previous employment was much better and you want to come back. So what happens in the process? You don't stay in the new job, you're looking for the next job. This flip-flop, which keeps on happening over a period of time, actually is detrimental to anybody's career. So if you are looking for a job, my advice is do some background checks, do some analysis. Now, how do you do this? Is if you recall the last episode we talked about image and credibility of a dealership. Now, very important for you to get some feedback on the prospective employer that you're looking at in terms of image and credibility. But the best people to ask, if you ask me, are the people who have worked in that organization for at least 2 years. Now, I know some of them may not be, they'll be very, very subjective in their opinions.
Yeah.
But I think talking to 2 or 3 people will give you a balanced opinion about how this dealership is. That's a very good way of judging whether you want to go and work there. The second type of people that you can probably get to opinions is the people who are currently working there. Don't look at people who have just gone there for 1 month or 2 months, but look at people who have worked there for 2 or 3 or more years, or stayed on, say, for 5 or 10 years. They may be able to give you a better opinion. Now, if you go and ask opinion about people who work for more than 5 and 10 years, they'll also be pretty happy with where they're working because they don't have a choice. So they will give you a very, very rosy picture of that place. So it's always nice to look at people within, around 5 years who would have had the more objective assessment of the organization. So I think that's the second opinion that you can take. The third, of course, if you have the reach, talk to people or your business associates like insurance guys, auto finance guys, accessories, who keep moving around organizations, and I have some feedback from people who work there as to how they feel in that organization. So I think if you can get these 3-4 streams of people who can give you their opinion, I would think that's a better way to judge before you make the move, because moving is required because if you're not happy. But I think making the wrong move can really, really put you into hardship and probably ruin your career. So please do some background checks and then move.
We'd like to hear your views about what are the prospective advancements that this entire sector is looking at.
I think whatever I have talked so far is very dismal in the sense I said it's not a career option, it's an employment option. People look around for jobs, etc. But I think there is a silver lining to this industry. If you're aware, in the calendar year 2023, which was ending in ended last December, the Indian passenger car market breached for the first time ever the 4 million mark, which is a milestone by itself. 4 million passenger cars sold in the year 2023. Now, by doing so, we have today moved ourselves to the third largest passenger car market in the world after China and the US. And in the process, we have overtaken Germany, we have overtaken Japan. Now, this is not just the end of it. What I see is, given the current state of the economy, the anticipated growth of the Indian economy, we can expect the passenger car market in India to cross the 10 million mark before the next 10 years. That means before 2034, 35. I think we should be seeing this maybe happening in 2032, 33. 10 million passenger cars being sold. Imagine, how much that can offer in terms of employment. Now, some of you watching this may, question and doubt my, my assessment. I'm basing my assessment not purely on the conventional engine cars. We're talking about the IC engines.
True.
I would see a big happening in the EV segment. EV segment today is very, very compared to the overall passenger car. But what we are seeing today is that basically the reason is the pricing of the car and the lack of proper infrastructure to support EVs. Both these issues, major issues, are being addressed. Now with localization of the battery, which I understand a lot of people are into it, and very soon we should be seeing Indian manufactured automotive batteries for EVs. Once that comes in, you will see a major drop in the prices of EVs in India. And once that happens, there's a large aspirational class waiting to buy vehicles. They will all move, many of them will move to the EVs. Simultaneously, we'll also see the infrastructure getting updated. These two things, the cost of the battery, the infrastructure, should be seeing a very, very major change in the next 2 years. It's already happening, but the next 2 years would see a very substantial change in these two aspects. Once that happens, the EV is going to be the next big thing. And that is what is going to take our industry to the 10 million mark. Because as we all know, today running an EV is much cheaper than running a conventional engine cars. And if the prices are good when you have to buy it and to support it, you will definitely see a big change in people, or big migration of people buying these cars. So this is definitely going to. Now, in terms of employment, I would think that if you are today, whatever the number of people working in the auto retail industry, you will see that getting double. But the biggest concern would be, where are these people going to come from? Now, there is definitely going to be a huge shortage of skilled manpower to support the industry. I really don't know how much work is being done on this, whether it is on the engineering side, where it is automobile engineering, ITI diploma holders to support the after sales. Also, people trained to support EVs, very important. And similarly, on the sales and sales related segments, we need to have people who are trained. Now, two things that can happen. Of course, once we provide good incentives or good salary packages, monetary benefits, good growth prospects, and a good environment, a lot of people will come into it. But we need to make sure there is a lot of skilling efforts made locally, which means dealerships must have their own, captive training units. If you don't get that, you are seeing a boom in the industry, but you don't have manpower. This is not something which is going to take the industry forward. That might, deter people from buying cars. People will be turned off for a while. So very important for dealerships aspiring to be there and make the full use of the kind of jump that you're going to see in the sales by making sure that you have a support system to create a lot of trained manpower. But job opportunities are going to be tremendous. I would think it's going to be the next big boom. We have seen this in the IT, the AI, and machine learning, etc. That will happen. But I think this is again going to be one segment which is going to give a lot of jobs, which are a lot of opportunities for youngsters. But we need to put all these things together in terms of monetary benefits, growth, work environment, and get the best talent into the industry. Make it a career option, and you will see that everyone will prosper. It's good for the dealerships, it's good for the people who work in this, and also good for the industry overall.
Perfect. Thank you, Commander Kumar, for this amazing insight. See you again in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, Taj, and namaskar.